Pokemon, basically.
He kind of is. Well, not Gizmo, because he doesn't evolve. All the other ones are.
That's true.
So, the special effects. Let's face it, this movie is like 90% special effects anyway.
All practical.
Yes, which is, like,
Must have been a nightmare.
I'm getting there. So originally they wanted to do stop motion.
There's a lot of those little fuckers.
There
Jesus.
are, yeah. And that wasn't the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Originally they wanted to do stop motion animation, which did happen. There was one scene with stop motion, the scene in the near closer to the end when they all sort of started to converge on the town, where it's like that big, massive, wide shot of all the ground. That was clearly stop motion animation. Because that was the only way you could do that. You can't have that many puppets at one point in time.
Just all coming down the hill.
That would be impossible. So they did that with stop motion. Everything else was puppets. Because originally the studio wanted to use a spider monkey with a mask. And they were like, well, can that work? And we're like, I don't know. So they get a spider monkey and bring it to Joe Dante's office. Because basically the special effects guy was like, I want to do puppets. And they're like, but we don't want to use puppets. Let's use something real so it can have motion.
Spider monkeys.
Yeah, so they're like, let's use spider monkeys. So they go to Joe Dante's office and they bring in a spider monkey, throw the mask on him. The monkey loses its shit, starts destroying everything, shitting everywhere, losing its fucking mind. They start screaming at the trainer, like, get a hold of it, and they finally do. And then Joe Dante just calmly just goes, so puppets. Huh. Yeah, puppets.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So, surprise, surprise, they were puppets.
Although I want to see that movie.
I know. Like, literally.
Because a bunch of spider monkeys with a mask on would cause a lot more than the fucking Gremlins did.
That's literally a line out of a movie where it's just like puppets, huh? And then the thing destroys it. So, puppets. Like, you can't write that shit better. So there were several Gizmo puppets used for different movement, like i.e. one for Billy to hold, and then one for being on the table and everything like that. But Chris Wales was the name of the effects guy. Got really, really frustrated because apparently that thing of no stripe Mogwai thing and Gizmo turning into that was actually during production that they changed their mind.
So they're just like,
that puppet wasn't meant to do anything. That puppet was meant to do the things we saw in the beginning of the movie and nothing else.
Just wave its arms.
Do a little
sort of dance, maybe a little sing song.
Exactly. It was not meant to do half of what it did in the movie. So basically, he was just like, "Oh my fucking god, you're making me do so much." This thing's got to
drive a car.
Exactly. It was not designed to do this shit. So, and also because it was so goddamn small, the puppet consistently broke down. Like, just because, in the 80s, we don't have... If you look at motors and servos and shit like that, they're all big.
Yeah.
So they asked him to make a tiny, tiny one. So basically, he almost pulled his hair out. He's like, fuck this. The crew hated it because the thing never worked. So they would be... Like, there was one day where everybody fell asleep waiting for the stupid fucking puppet to work. Like, it just would not work. They fucking hated every second of it.
Just halfway through a take.
Yeah, it would literally be like that, and they would just be like,
"Wow, Gizmo's dead again."
Yeah, we gotta fix Gizmo. Yeah, there were large Mogwai heads built, so that for the close-up shots of his face doing all of the cuteness stuff that you all remember is just basically just a big giant puppet. Marionettes were used as well, mostly for Gremlins.
Yeah, because all they got to do is just
like the ones that are just like causing trouble and just like hitting stuff. You can easily use a marionette and just sort of fucking
move its arms around all crazy.
Kind of basically like Kermit the Frog when he gets excited. Hey!
Yeah.
And then each Gremlin puppet cost $30 to $40,000.
Oh. That's a lot of money.
There was a security station at the end of every day to check everyone's cars to make sure they weren't stealing a fucking Gremlin
Because one of them is like, I want the fucking...
Yeah. I want Stripe. I want fucking this. I want that. Yeah. So, yeah. They basically...
Yeah. The flasher. The flasher one.
Yeah, so I want the one in the fucking bandito mask with the fucking gun. That's the one I want. Some weird shit in this movie.
I like that they all had characters. They all had like a character trait.
And that's the weirder part. Like
one gremlin who's smoking 3 cigarettes at the same time.
They all fucking get dressed up to sing Christmas carols. What the hell? This is such a weird movie. But anyway, I guess we should get right into it.
We start
in
Chinatown in an undisclosed city.
Mm-hmm. By the way, when Randy walks out to go into the curio shop, the car that's smoking, an AMC Gremlin. That's how you do it, folks.
It's the details, folks.
That's how you do it.
Devil is in the detail.
Mm-hmm.
So Rand Peltzer is our narrator for this film.
Yeah. Why? I don't know, because he wasn't around for half of it.
He's an inventor, don't you know? And we do see a bunch of his wacky inventions throughout the film.
Yeah.
He's in Chinatown. I guess he's getting ultimately, he's getting a Christmas present for his son, Billy.
It's a combination.
Plus, he wants to sell his bathroom buddy.
He's trying to sell his gimmick, and he's trying to get a gift at the same time. And he's thinking, this is weird enough. I can find something here.
So he's following this kid down to his grandpa's shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's this old Chinese guy.
Yep. He, this
with the
really,
Fu Manchu.
Yeah, and he's smoking the really long pipe that just kind of seems cumbersome and pointless. But that actor, he was... at the time, I believe he was 86 years old. But when they looked at him, his skin was so clear and everything, they actually had to age him up.
Well, because the guy's supposed to look like Mr. Wing.
Well, no, he's supposed to look old.
It's supposed to look like they age him up to the point where he looks like he's 200 years old.
Yeah, but I mean, it was literally. But the problem was they literally were like, you don't even look old enough to have a grandkid.
Yeah.
So they actually they had to age him up, which is hilarious.
Hell of a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
So he keeps hearing this. He's trying to sell him a bathroom buddy whilst you got some interesting things in this shop. Maybe I'll get my kid a Christmas gift.
Mm-hmm.
He hears this cooing and this singing and what is that noise? Goes over to the corner and he sees a Mogwai.
He does,
or the Mogwai, I guess.
Yeah, the only one at the existing in the moment.
How much? It's not for sale.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? $100? No, it's $100. Like I get it that it's the '80s, and I guess $100 is a lot of money, but like
in a curio shop like that, you'd be lucky if somebody offered you $100 for anything.
Yeah, $200. Mm-hmm. It's not for $300. It's not for sale. Wow. It just straight up. Grandfather walks away. Not for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Kid later on in like, hey, mister, do you still want it? He's like, of course. What about your grandfather? Don't worry about him. Just give me the money. We need the money for our shop because apparently, I don't know, they need the money.
Yeah.
And gives them the rules. No light. No direct sunlight.
Yeah.
Don't get it wet. Mm-hmm. And most important rule, don't feed him after midnight.
Okay. Here we go. Now, my complaints with the getting them wet, I'll deal with in a minute, later on. Because there's inconsistencies like you read about. Mm-hmm. So, feeding them after midnight.
Yeah.
Are Mogwais localized to Eastern Standard Time?
I would assume.
That doesn't make sense if they're from China.
It's an ancient creature. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, that's one of those things where you just got to understand it's midnight wherever you are.
Okay.
Like, because then when you start going, well, what are we doing here? And then
what is also fucking... So when do you feed them? Afternoon? Does it have to be 12 p.m.?
I guess.
Like, that's the thing. They're not very clear. All I know is you can't feed them after midnight, but technically everything until 11:59 is considered after midnight.
I just think it's one of those things in films you just don't get hung up on it too much because then the whole thing just falls apart.
Well, yeah. Because
those are just weird questions that I don't think anyone else even bothered to think of. Like, just because who cares?
Well, I know people,
honestly, at the end of the day, who cares?
I know people have been concerned about it because I asked that to somebody and somebody actually stopped. When I asked, like, when exactly can you feed them? I stopped, like, this dude stopped and literally looked up at the sky, like that universal symbol of trying to figure it out, and he looked at me and went, I have no fucking idea when you can feed these stupid things.
My whole answer would be the character's told off screen when you can feed them. Because then what do you do? When we're doing a 5-minute scene where, listen, you gotta understand that you can only feed them from this time to this time, and then like the kids.
How does that take 5 minutes?
Kids pull it out a chart and fucking if you move somewhere across the country and the standard time changes,
feed it between 12 p.m. and 11:59 p.m. Done. No one's questioning. Everyone understands. We don't have to sit here and go,
then we got to get into the whole standard time. Oh, if you move, it's got to change. And
well, no, that wasn't until recently did that ever occur to me. Like, I guess they are localized to Eastern Standard Time, which doesn't work for me.
It's one of those things where it's just like, hey, fucking shut up. It's a movie.
Well, if we're gonna do that, then half my notes here aren't gonna make any sense.
Well, then shut up. It's a movie, Steve.
Okay, then I guess I'm done for the day.
Then see yourself out.
All right, I guess I'm done. See you next week, folks.
Tree Farm.
Yes.
Just because. I guess they want to establish, hey, there's Corey Feldman, kind of, because he's in a tree costume, so you don't actually know it's Corey Feldman until later.
Well, at the time, we didn't even know who Corey Feldman was, so it's just a
Was this
kid.
before?
This was definitely before he broke.
Yeah.
Because, I think his other bigger role, which I think... Oh, no, he was a little younger in... No, shit. Now I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah. Because what about Goonies?
Goonies was way after this. It was like 86 or something like that. I'm more thinking of Friday the 13th.
Yeah. So he's there with his dad. His dad keeps making him fucking wear a tree costume. And it looks creepy because it's literally a dancing tree. Like, he's hidden within the tree, and the tree just gets up and starts moving around. You're like, Jesus.
Yeah, and we're already at this point expecting to see some weird shit.
No.
So when you see a tree walk in, that's a little fucked up.
And his dad's complaining because nobody's buying a tree anymore. And I'm like, well, this is a very small town from what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
Kingston Falls, right?
Yes.
I'm going to guess this guy's the only game in town for a tree.
I would assume.
And I'm going to also guess, seeing that the town is completely decorated, fucking top to tail, in Christmas decorations and all the accoutrement and regalia and all that stuff.
Yes.
That everyone celebrates Christmas in this town. And everyone eats a tree. And if they're all real trees, you throw out your tree at the end of the season because you don't keep trees.
Yeah. Literally the same year. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and Gremlins were the same year.
Okay.
And then...
Then he broke.
Then we go further, and then Stand By Me is 86, and then he's off to the races.
So my guess is my whole thing is that, no, that's not true. You would sell a lot of trees.
You would think.
Because, fuck.
But if I'm not allowed to figure out where when you can feed a gremlin, you
shut
can't
up, it's
bitch
a
and
movie.
moan about a fucking tree. So don't start with me on this shit. At least mine has actually been debated before. No one gives a shit about who sells the trees here. I hope that guy fucking starves to death.
Jesus, that's...
The movie's over. The guy doesn't exist.
Dark.
I can say anything I want.
Not as dark as this movie gets.
Right?
Billy, the actual main protagonist of this movie, with his just unnaturally frozen car. Like, cartoonishly frozen car.
Yeah.
It is an ice cube.
It is.
His neighbor, Mr. Futterman, got foreign cars, and was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
A little playful racism for the kids at home.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it's necessarily racism. I think it's overt patriotism.
Because he goes off on foreign cars are the worst. This is why you get American steel, and you get...
That's overt patriotism.
Yeah,
That's not racism. Racism would be that the people who make the cars are inferior, not that the cars are inferior.
If the camera would have held on just a little bit longer.
Oh, he was definitely about 3 seconds away from a bunch of racial slurs just spewing out of him.
That's why Billy's like, I gotta go to work.
Yeah,
Bye.
I don't need to hear this today. I'm just gonna go off to work now.
I'm good.
See ya.
So he's bringing his dog to work, which no. Especially at a bank,
yeah.
No.
Well, the idea is he's not supposed to be in a bank. He's a free spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate. Phoebe Cates, playing Kate, wants to sign up at...
Certain age group. Yeah. If you're anywhere near my age, you are in love with Phoebe Cates.
Don't worry.
That will never change.
Don't worry, we'll get to that movie eventually.
Yes, we will. Because it's also a great movie.
Yeah, that's true.
With a fantastic scene in it.
I found out she was married to Kevin. You know she's married to Kevin Kline?
Yeah, she's married to Kevin Kline.
And they have been since, like, the late
fucking
80s.
89. Yeah. He's 25 years older than her.
She's 55 and he's 71. I'm like, oh, okay, good for you, Kevin.
Good on you, buddy.
Because that's like... Man, it's always the long Hollywood ones marriages nobody talks about. It's only ones that last for 5 minutes.
Well, that's the thing. Like, no one gives a shit. It's like, oh, they're happy. What the fuck is wrong with them? No one cares.
Happiness and love in Hollywood.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, fucking Tom Hanks has been married to Mrs.
Wilson.
Hanks. I can't remember her name.
It's Rita Wilson, isn't it?
Yes, that's it.
That's Rita Hanks.
Yeah, they've been married for like fucking 30 years or something like that. Like, no one cares.
Hollywood's not interested in your happiness. She wants to sign a petition because they want to close down the pub and they want to make it a landmark or something.
Yeah.
And then you go, and then there's scenes that take place in this bar, and it's just like, it's a shithole.
Yeah, but usually landmarks are shitholes. That's usually the point.
Fair. And then the fucking Wicked Witch of the West shows up.
Yes.
The Wicked Witch of the East or whatever.
Yeah.
Mrs. Dangle, or Deagle.
Deagle.
I'm like, so that's literally the same character that old lady from The Wizard of Oz. It's the exact same character.
Yeah, same idea. Yeah, same character.
Like you and your dog, and your dog ruined my Bavarian snowman.
Well, first of all, she hates dogs because